topic. So I want to tell you about something about the LilyPond export options we now have, and I want to go through it. I had prepared some topics just fast. The main data exchange, you know, all is MusicXML, and you can convert MusicXML to LilyPond. An export option is right now not integrated into the base LilyPond. What I want to discuss is LilyPond is in that way not a team player. So if you are in a multi-format environment and you want to exchange data with other people who are not using LilyPond, they are not bad, but they're just using Finale and they are doing a great job, and you want to exchange data, we need something for that. So there are a few options to export now. There is this option, you can export data with Python LI. You can, I started some development with inside OpenLily but it is in a pre-alpha state. It is possible to export some files, but only for, it does work sometimes, but many times not. In recent times there were mailing lists, in the mailing list, Jaap de Wolf did start a fork of LilyPond just to implement his scheme files. The difference is only that he didn't do an OpenLily project, but that he placed his scheme files directly in LilyPond. That's the main difference. He started the same. He saw I had a little conversation with him via email, and he said he looked at my development, but he said, oh, there was no development for a long time. Yes, that is true. I didn't do anything for a long time on that. But he liked my idea to have an intermediate idea. We will hear from Jacques about that idea. Yes, to export not only MusicXML, but other file formats. So it is one process to export something and to say I have a plugin and want to write MusicXML, MEI, Humdrum, or whatever. And I want to discuss, yes, there are two things. You can export something if you have a music expression, so you have something contained in a scheme expression in the end. So it is some construct, maybe C++ construct inside. You can use the direct internal LilyPond objects to export something. You look at them and say, okay, I want to export that. The other way is to export a file, and that is what is Python like doing internally. Yes, that's true. And so I just want to raise this. We have to separate those. Those are two concepts to export things from LilyPond. And I want to say exporting MEI is very desirable because to connect, this is my opinion, it's biased and it's opinionated, it's my opinion that export to MEI is more desirable than MusicXML because it is a more clean format. I would say it's opinionated. And you can produce MusicXML if you have MEI, and you can have the exchange with the academic community, all those projects working with MEI more directly. So I want to show this. Okay, such a file will be easy. You can do that with. Yes, I did some tests. Okay, that was my test file. You've seen it yesterday, maybe. So if you export that with Python LI, you will get, and open the MusicXML file in MuseScore, you get this. We see beams are not exported, accidentals are not consistent, I would say, somewhat, don't know what to say. and there is an extra measure in the end. I did the same export with the very early implementation. It was so there's no Vorwurf. What's that? It's no. I don't want to claim that. I don't want to offend someone. All those works are in the early stage. So just seeing beams are not exported, but there's no end thing, and clef export for this bus clef only works if you have it inside in the music expression, not in the context of the voice. If you say stuff with clef bus, it doesn't work. The bus clef will not. Though it's a little measure, a little thing, a little issue. I think this will be half an hour. You have to type something and it will be okay. The same applies for my things that you say you have an exporter and you export things. And the same problem here is another extra measure, and here's something wrong with the clef. And the clef is also only exported if it's in the music expression and not a context property. This is a problem I think you could solve it it should be easy to solve, but now it's that way. Yes, I just said it. Okay, we have two ways of exporting things, and the pro is if you work from source files, you can have an easy batch processing. If the source files are formatted in a way you can process them, it's very easy to say, but what, I have a directory full of files and I want the MusicXML. This is nice. The thing is that you need a complete LilyPond parser. You have that in LilyPond Li, and you have to have it because Frescobaldi, it's so to say it's really a con. I don't know if you should really say that because it's there. You can use that, so it's not really a con.
Well, I think that it does not execute scheme is a major drawback.
Yeah,
I wrote it myself, so I can say it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and
so,
what I like to do is fill my LilyPond files with some scheme scripts and to automate things, and they are not executed. So, okay, yes, Python Li source is passed with the Python module, and the object structure, the Python object structure is then exported to XML.
Yeah,
so this is just the way how it should work, I think.
Yeah, that's how it works, and the XML part is written by Peter Buer.
I see.
Parsing to an object model, some kind of, but Peter implemented the export to MusicXML.
Yeah.
A very great thing.
Yeah.
I have a specific question. So, so if you run the parser, you get like this tree full of music expressions, but LilyPond then does a lot of work to align those expressions to, so if you have parallel voices that you know which events happen at the same time, and so how can you make this work if you don't do also that work?
I think
I can explain a little. Yeah, you can't actually do it, so you get separate streams of every music expression, and they are just when they have correct counting and there are no errors in the parsing, then you get separate streams, and you have to you can't melt them together.
Okay.
So it should be done by a target application. Okay. That's I think problem. I have also implemented in Python Li a very basic thing that runs in LilyPond. It's in the li.xml folder, and it's a scheme file that runs in LilyPond and writes a music expression out to XML. So everything, including markup, is then in a very large XML file, and you could process it. So it's just for studying, but it also it's just plain scheme music expression, not worked on by LilyPond after that. So no positioning data, just the music.
Yes, and we we see that we're still in the very beginning of a discussion and searching for ideas. So to go through, if you have a scheme expressions, scheme is executed, of course, and the con, I don't know, the implementation is more, most times I think it's more, I don't know if it's more expensive, but it's more invasive, or I'm not happy with this statement, so there are problems too, so okay, just to separate those two export modules, the scheme music expression is directly converted to XML by Voigt, so it's a bit like the source-based, one step further. In my attempt to do it, it is an engraver that fetches all events and builds an intermediate structure, and that is given to a plugin, and that exports it. And you will hear from Jacques that his attempts, he's talking about import, but it's more related to this topic than you will see. We talked yesterday evening.
I think there would be another approach in this scheme expression to outperform that isn't mentioned here. Namely, we have currently in LilyPond layout output definition, and we have a media output definition. It would be imaginable to have a third output definition, MusicXML, where you specifically put in all the stuff you want to have specially catered for music expressions, and then the normal process of LilyPond's iteration would be starting, would be exporting elements that would not preserve all the structure of the document. That's a problem. If you re-import, you basically get a music expression after it's been sequentialized. But it would probably be a reasonable source of information for MusicXML in its sequence form. I think it has something like that.
This is a very good idea, and I had this in mind, but I just didn't want to go into the C++. It's not that I'm not able to do C++, but I don't want to wanted to go into the project and destroy it some way. Most times my developments, that's the one reason for OpenLily, and the reason why I also use that infrastructure, because you can use any LilyPond installation and just pull OpenLily. That is, if you want to have an internal export option in LilyPond, then that is the way, of course. And you're right, I should have mentioned it.
There's one thing I would like to mention at this point. There has always been the discussion whether we want to preserve all the layout information or not. And I'd say there are two different applications and use cases. And I'd say the more important one is to not care about the layout. Just have the contents exported to whatever user might want to use the data. Especially if they don't want to use it for typesetting, but for just basically using LilyPond as an expressive language for inputting data. And this is probably much easier.
Yes, I totally agree. So if someone is asking me, you did this typesetting, can you give me a MusicXML? I always can say, okay, it's another program you have Finale, the layout will be, of course it will be different, and but you can get the music data, so you have at least the notes and the accidentals and what you need. Accidentals, who needs them? Okay, I think we just discussed this. Okay, I think I maybe explained how my implementation worked. So I think we can go over that, so to shorten my talk. Yes, that's the, yeah. Okay, I just wanted to say it does create MusicXML files for some scores, and it does Humdrum for some scores. I presented this in 2017. After that presentation, my work on this module is nearly null.
So you have to do another presentation.
Yes, that's right. Okay, and there are two things. Okay, MEI is on the agenda, of course, because I think it's really important. And an export plugin to LilyPond is on the agenda because if you have, so it's a normalization. As I said, I always include some scheme expressions in my LilyPond scores. If I normalize it, I have a plain LilyPond file without any script elements, and then you can export that to any format with the source-based or whatever. So it will be easier.
Isn't that like display Lily music? Because you have in LilyPond the display Lily music command, which does that. It produces plain LilyPond.
Yes, but if you have the scheme expression has to be executed. So yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to process the file to get that. So yeah. Okay.
I think the scheme files, procedures that build the expression are executed. I think when using display Lily music, but not the lambda crop, so not the graphic things indeed. So maybe I'm wrong indeed. Not sure.
No, I think we're talking some way aside. So this normalization to a pure LilyPond file this gives the opportunity to use the source-based export. So and then it's easy to use the OpenLI object. And yeah, that's it. So I tried to shorten it. I hope I did it. Go over. So yeah.
So this is actually not at all about your presentation, but so you talked about export. I was browsing the source tree yesterday, and there's also scripts that do import, and so we have ABC to Li and ETF to Li and a whole bunch of things. And I was wondering, is anyone actually using this, or does everyone use this?
Well, at least I did use XML to lie, and Jacques will present his new version of that tool, I think. And yes, the other ones I do not use, but what I presented 2017 was also the import options, and at least the thought that if this would be integrated, you could do this. You have in LilyPond this nice point-and-click feature, and if you would integrate the import process into LilyPond, LilyPond and Friscobaldi would be able to say, okay, we have here a node, and this is defined in this MusicXML file. So you could step here or MEI file or whatever. So I had a little demo, which was a faked PDF file that. So where I could click on a node and I went to a Humdrum file. So it would be easy to implement if this import process would be integrated into LilyPond directly.
I'm not sure whether anybody uses ABC to lie actively, but the reason for it is that there is basically a huge folk music community that is using ABC for writing down its songs. So there's a sort of a corpus that one would not want to let go easily. So if it works, we should try keeping it working.
I recall that every time it is mentioned on the mailing list, it's because it doesn't work. Is that? I'm afraid. I'm not sure, but I'm afraid it has stopped working for quite some time.
Well, happy customers never complain.
anything we can do to make such efforts not rely on the fact of Jan-Peter having a presentation. So basically, that's a common theme, I'd say. That's also what I will talk about. How can we ensure that work on such projects continue? Because everybody agrees it's crucial, and in practice, everybody just waits until, for example, you are doing something new.
Perhaps it's a matter of having a clear vision, because we can see that there are many different approaches possible. Each one has its upsides and downsides. And it's if someone is not, if someone new comes and he would like to contribute, but he is not into the topic and doesn't know all the trade-offs, he's not sure where to start. He would just add some features. So perhaps the biggest opportunity here we have, being in the same place, is that we could discuss the trade-offs and decide on the approach that we would choose as the community. Even if we wouldn't start implementing it right now, we would have it clear that this is the best approach, we think, and the efforts should be directed in that way.
We should also have to that some place, somewhere where this is sort of documented. Maybe well, like a page where it says we have, apart from the fact that we need development in general, we have a few open places where, for example, Jan-Peter is basically maybe not working, but responsible for this thing, and if someone comes, I think you are pretty similar to me. I'm mostly doing stuff either when I need it for myself, or when someone approaches me and says, I would like to do something. Then initially I give him some hints, but in the end we're doing something together. That's usually a very strong incentive to actually generate some working hours from me. So if we had a place where someone could be pointed to, look at that page, there are some directions like a mini contributors guide. You could ask Jan-Peter, or you could ask us, or something like that, to make that more visible.
One question I have, so the mailing list has become challenging for me just because email isn't the primary way that I communicate with people these days. And I'm wondering if that's the same for a lot of people in this room. So maybe this friendly conversation that you're talking about, pulling somebody in, is it more likely that would happen over Slack, over WhatsApp, over something that's not email, giving people's perspectives?
I think I'm seeing more and more people, basically from the younger generations, who are not on our mailing list. So I encountered people who turn out to be power users whose name I've never read before. But on the other hand, we had this discussion several times. It's very difficult or dangerous for a very small community as ours to diversify into various platforms. For example, there was the idea of opening a stack exchange, and the issue is if we have 30 active power users on the mailing list and open a stack exchange, we would end up with 15 on the mailing list, and that would be a problem.
I guess that having different channels of communication is a matter of deciding exactly what to put where and sticking to it. I think it would work if everyone agreed that, okay, we will only use the mailing list for something and not for like asking questions about LilyPond, and every time someone would ask a question about how I do this in LilyPond, we would say, oh, post this on the Stack Exchange site. I mean, I think it's a matter of commitment. I think it would make sense to have Slack or some other chat, because it feels a different, it allows for a different way of communicating things, and for some things it's better. For example, emails can easier lead to flame wars wars, or not even flame wars, but prolonged discussion that uses up a lot of time of the participants, because they write these long emails, and then they read these long emails from everybody else, and they reply to them, which is impossible on Slack, which is real time. So there is a benefit to using that. We will just have to decide what goes where.
So I think we would need then a central point that this is, so it's for discussion between two developers or more developers working on the same topic right now. And so it is more like a Litfaßsäule. It's more a common spot to meet, but I think the real discussion should be somewhere else. So there are 2 points, this development discussion and the discussion about the internal discussions. We want to do something, and I just put a commit in there.
Getting to this idea about maybe some more modern tools, I think that, I mean, not to say that the tool solves the problem, because humans solve the problem, but I think that tools like Slack, for example,
Yes.
So there's a big functional programming Slack that has about 12,000 people, and I'm on the Haskell list, the pure script list, and I would say it's the biggest functional programming community in the world. And a lot of the scheme questions that I've asked over the past 5 years come from there. And in this conference, I've seen that maybe one of the biggest questions that comes up is how do I do a thing in scheme? And maybe the LilyPond community is not necessarily can't necessarily respond to all those questions as well as maybe a scheme community on a functional programming list. So I think that the idea of kind of serendipity and meeting people that can move people forward on their questions in ways that they can't expect is facilitated better by a forum like that, and it costs almost nothing to create. I mean, the nice thing is that, so I agree with you, Urs, that if you spread it out too thin, then it kind of dissipates and loses momentum. But at the same time, what I love about kind of modern technology is that it's abstract until you create the thing, and once you create the thing, if it gets traction, it gets momentum, nobody remembers when it was abstract anymore. Nobody remembers what life was like before Facebook or all these things. So, I mean, it's just, it gets traction and then people use it. So it might be worth it for somebody to throw it out there, and then if it fizzles out, at least people try.
I would like to address a doubt, I guess, some people may have against Slack, for example. Not that I think that we should use Slack in particular, like, I don't know, any hosted chat. Is that what about the format of the communication, and what if the company goes down or something like that? What will happen to all this heritage that is there? With a mailing list, it's easy to back up, easier to restore, do something. So I would say, I don't know, maybe I'm guessing wrong, but I think some people may have these doubts. And I think that my answer to that would be Slack is very good for ad hoc communication, and everything that should be preserved should actually be posted somewhere else, because in our company Slack, for example, I'm from time to time complaining that someone posted an announcement, and it's afterwards, even though we have the history, it's not easy to find. So basically, it's best to post information that should be saved somewhere on the mailing list, or like I can imagine that developers come and have like a chat at some moment of time about some functionality of developing, and then someone writes stuff and sends an email to the mailing list. Okay, the decision to do this thing is to do it this way, and this way it's preserved, like more permanent. But and like all the intermediate discussion details can disappear. It won't hurt us, I think.
So I'm actually not very worried about the heritage later, if you read it, you won't be able to understand. But personally, I started doing stuff on LilyPond yesterday, or was it before yesterday, and I thought, oh, this is actually really great, because I know this program, and it's fun to work on. But I have a job as well, and I'm not going to be on Slack. I don't have time to deal with, I mean, I have chat on at my job already, and it's hugely annoying because people can interrupt me all the time. And so I'm not going to go onto Slack to have another source of distraction. And I wonder if this is the same for other people.
Well, also it applies only for people that look at that are at their screen every day and all their day basically. So that's mostly programmers. And I think we're missing out on a big part of users that are actually musicians and dealing with their instruments throughout the day. And for them, probably Slack will not be the best forum to join. I think it might be a burden for them, in fact.
I mean, one thing that we have to face is that if we're looking for active developers, there are very few who have the time to contribute a significant work in programming as well as entertaining a full schedule on an instrument.
I just want to bring up another topic. We had Ross said that we have, it's not what he said, but competing, no, they are not competing, but we have different seeds to try out to do something like here. And I think it's no problem to have those. Some of them can coexist. One major thing is, I think that if we have a source-based export option and we have an internal export option, they both can coexist. They both have its use cases, and but we have to focus on the ones that we'll see, okay, that is working out.
I think one of our main problems is a lack of development time and power, and I'm not sure how to address that. I just wanted to add a note to the to ABC to LI. I just went to an ABC archive and downloaded the first version of Greensleeves. I could find that converts with ABC to LI currently, and the output is okay. So that's not, of course, definitive. It's a single example, but the first example I tried worked.
That's fine. You were luckier than me.
I just downloaded another ABC file and it failed miserably. But then I found out it's because in that ABC file there were many scores.
Oh, okay.
So and when I deleted all but one, it works correctly. So apparently, ABC2Ly supports one score per ABC file.
Okay.
So I think, so we discussed now, we will not find the final solution for how to discuss things, and now we are sitting here and our need are more developers and more development time, of course. And I think we should go ahead now and hear what Jacques have to say.
Yeah,
I think that's really.
If we're at an impasse, then the thing to do is next talk.
Yes.